Hi everyone! I want to make a really short video, hopefully, about 3 books that made a huge difference for me. They kind of changed my life 180 degrees. Um, and I cannot even say that I recommend them because these changes are very uncomfortable. They are definitely led me towards a better quality of life, but also towards a situation where my brains are not happy about stuff that is changing. Let me explain it a little bit. So, backstory: 14 years of my life I devoted to a career in IT, and I love this job. I was a product manager in video games. Cool job. Who wouldn't want it? And for people, anxious people like I am, it's a great job because you're constantly switching what you're doing. You talk a lot to people, you're working a lot with documentation, digging into details, you work with analytics a lot, you have to actually dig into data and figure like what is the next thing you can build and how to impact. Also working with stakeholders to justify what you're doing, why you're doing, make sure that we're all aligned. You're working with engineers, with QA to ensure that we are delivering stuff that we have to deliver, and also planning all the release, communicating it to all the departments. So pretty much everything that is happening in IT happening through product manager. And from that standpoint, it's a very interesting job. You know, there's a huge field to learn from everyone, and I enjoy learning as far as I cannot enjoy sitting calmly. And this is the fun stuff because now I can. So with this job, obviously, I had to read a lot to grow. And also with this job, I definitely had some tough times. So I was working with therapists to help me answer certain questions and figure some situations. I also switched countries. This is another topic of like how to deal with your life, you know. And as far as just random curiosity, I also did like financial literacy courses, nutritionist courses, like everything pretty much. I guess I'm the perfect audience to sell all the courses to. You're welcome. And with that, I started reading a lot, and surprisingly, my books, from mostly stuff about work, like now I'm actually looking at the shelf with some of them, it transformed towards more of, you know, life purpose stuff, which is interesting because I was pretty sure that I'm in my place. But the first book I read was How to Ikigai by Tim Tamashiro. Book about life purpose. And when I read it, I saw that I'm exactly on my place. Perfect. The thing is that book is asking you some questions that you have to think through and answer. And apparently some answers are not as obvious, maybe. So the next book that I read and that made a kind of a next step change was the Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. Autobiography, what might go wrong? But this book is basically about Michael, who started saying yes to a life. And it made me think through biggest changes of my life, how they happened, and I mean positive changes, obviously, how those happened, and if there was my intention and hard work, or it was more of like something else. Spoiler, something else. Worst thing that I figured is that all of my hard work, the more I give, the more I work, the more painful the result is, unfortunately. And past few years, it was like, you know, a lot of confirmation to that, unfortunately. I hope that it's not everyone's experience, but also it feels very logical. You are devoting a lot of time, your life, your energy towards something. And as far as we are living in society and working with people, your outcome depends on others as well. And others might not even care sometimes, or they care but in their own way, or they have their own projects. And at the end of the day, the more I actually put my energy into the project, the more demanding I was towards others also to put that energy. And this is not how life is working, apparently. The last book that kind of cracked my reality, I would say, was Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. That book, oh my god, it's tough. So through all of the therapy, what I learned is a lot of stuff, but I guess the core is that if you do not like something in your life, you will have to change something in yourself in order to get those changes in your life. So if you are choosing abusive partners, you have to think through your past experiences, your expectations, to actually break this pattern and change it into something better. So this book is basically about breaking the habit of being yourself, breaking these patterns. And part of the practice, huge part of it, is meditation. And it really works because you will have to stay one-on-one with your mind. And it's somewhat a good therapy session. Very painful though. What I figured is that I loved working with therapists because brains are tricky. If they finding uncomfortable situations, they will try to avoid it. Like when I talk to a therapist about certain stuff and she is asking me questions that my brains consider not safe, what I did is I was unconsciously changing the topic or trying to avoid the answer. So the benefit of working with therapists is that you cannot do that. Your therapist will always return to that question. But when you just sit in on your own, reading the book, it's easy to actually, skip that thought, like, next one. But in meditation, I feel like there is nothing to actually get distracted to, and you have to stay on your own with your thoughts. That's uncomfortable sometimes, but frankly speaking, surprisingly, I loved meditations. From the person who could not sit straight for 5 minutes, I became a person in about 6 months, less than 6 months, less. I became a person who can and love meditate and can meditate for over an hour without any problems. I love actually this state, and I think that all of the previous experiences of meditations I had, they haven't had that background of knowledge, I guess, that books are providing. And with breaking the habit of being yourself, you see the purpose, why you're doing those meditations, not just to calm your mind, not at all, have nothing to do with that. Calmness will come as a side effect, but not probably as a main thing. The main thing is actually learning about yourself, I would say. Learning about yourself. And it's tough. And the worst and the best thing is that after 14 years in IT, I figured that I know nothing about myself. Zero. But with meditation, step by step, you will figure what's your favorite color and what kind of food you prefer. If you, as I for example, I didn't know those simple things. because again, I was growing into in a situation where that's not the point. Like, just do your work. That's it. So yes, those books actually brought huge changes into my life, and as of now, I feel like I am standing in the unknown, and I'm very curious what life will bring. And from time to time, my brains are like hinting that, going back into IT might be easiest thing to do. You know what to expect there, and why not? But after that, the part that is actually enjoying the life in each moment, push back, and definitely, I don't think I can ever return to the original version of me that I was about a year ago, probably a little bit less. But it's a journey. Let's see how it will go. And anyway, 3 books. I definitely can say that they were something that made a huge impact on me. And I'll be curious to see if you read those. Please share your experience. If you did not, I'm going to.